I've noticed we're losing subscribers. Not the YouTube kind, but the kind that swore they'd be in my life forever. Funny how that works. One day you're surrounded by people who claim to love you, and the next, you're watching them walk away like you were just another phase in their lives. By the way, if you're here, do me a favor, subscribe. It's free, and unlike some people in my life, you won't regret sticking around. The tiny things, the little annoyances, they didn't matter to me. Not anymore. The only thing that mattered was my baby. I had made up my mind. I would do whatever made me happy, because if I was happy, my baby would be too. That's what they say, right? It's been a few months since I last shared my story, and so much has changed. My baby was born 3 weeks ago, a beautiful little girl who has brought nothing but joy. She's done something I never thought possible. She's brought everyone together. My mother, who once seemed like a distant figure, became a presence in my life again. We stuck to the arrangement we had before. She visited me at the end of every month, but as my due date approached, she stayed with me. And something unexpected happened. She apologized. Not some half-hearted, obligatory apology. A real one. A raw, honest confession. She admitted she hadn't been a good mother to me. She told me she had been blind to how she was treating me, too focused on my sister, Janet, and her struggles. Maybe that's why she had expected me to be more forgiving. But she hadn't realized how unfair she had been. And now she was sorry. I had a choice. Hold on to the resentment. Or forgive. I chose forgiveness. And then there was Janet. She had been paying me back in small amounts for months, and last month she made her final payment. After that, she did something I didn't expect. She reached out. She wanted to talk. To make things right. I hesitated, but in the end I said yes. When she showed up, she broke down. Not just a few tears, she crumbled. She confessed everything. How she had been in a dark place. How she had lashed out at me. How she had been ungrateful and cruel, and how I had never deserved any of it. She was relieved that I had given her a chance to make amends. So I did. Now we're trying to rebuild what was broken. It's not perfect, but it's something. Janet has been visiting often since my daughter was born, and to my surprise, my daughter absolutely adores her Aunt Janet. And that makes me happy. It's funny how life works. My daughter, this tiny little being, has done what I never could. She has healed wounds that felt impossible to mend. That day in the delivery room, I wasn't alone. I had my husband. I had my family. I had his family. It was the most unforgettable day of my life. But as much as my life is full of love now, there is another part of my story. A part that still lingers in the shadows. Teresa. The woman I had once trusted with my heart. The woman I had built a life with. The woman who betrayed me when I needed her most. I had been with Teresa for 8 years. We had been married for 4. We met in college. She was all confidence and charm, sharp-witted and driven. She was the kind of person who made you believe you could take on the world. Our first date was a disaster. I lost my wallet, spilled wine all over her dress, but she just laughed it off. We ended up spending hours just walking and talking. I knew then that she was different. She pushed me to be better. She came from a hard-working family and had big ambitions. I admired that about her. She was the one who encouraged me to take risks, to go after opportunities one wouldn't have otherwise. After graduation, we both landed great jobs in the city. We moved in together, got engaged, and then married in a small, intimate ceremony. For a while, everything was perfect. Until it wasn't. Because when I needed her most, when I was drowning in grief after my brother's death, she didn't just leave me. She betrayed me. And years later, when she saw the life I had built without her, she couldn't believe what she had lost. For a long time, I thought I had it all. A career I loved, a woman I adored, and a life that felt like it was heading exactly where it was supposed to. The first couple of years of marriage with Teresa were everything I had hoped for. We grew together, pushing each other to be better. We traveled, hosted dinner parties, and built a home that felt warm, filled with laughter. We had our separate hobbies, Teresa with her yoga and painting, me with basketball and working on vintage cars, but we always came back to each other. We were a team. And then everything changed. Mason. My older brother, my best friend, my rock, diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. It didn't make sense. Mason was the healthiest person I knew. He ran marathons, ate right, never smoked. But none of that mattered. I remember sitting in that doctor's office with him and his wife, Sarah, feeling like the world was caving in. From that moment on, nothing else mattered except being there for him. I took him to his chemo appointments, stayed overnight in the hospital when things got bad, and tried everything I could to keep his spirits up. At first, Teresa was supportive. She came with me on visits, helped Sarah with meals, even sat with Mason and talked to him when he had the energy. But as the months dragged on, something shifted. She started complaining. She told me I was spending too much time with Mason, that I was neglecting our marriage, that she felt like I wasn't prioritizing her. How was I supposed to explain to her that my brother, the man who had raised me when our parents divorced, who had guided me through life, was dying in front of me? That every moment I had left with him mattered? I tried to juggle both. I really did. But Mason was slipping away and I wasn't going to waste the time I had left. Then, after 8 brutal months, he was gone. I shattered. The grief swallowed me whole. I barely got out of bed. I took a leave from work. Every single thing in my life reminded me of Mason. TV shows we watched together, inside jokes, even the food he used to love. And Teresa? At first, she acted like she understood. She tried to help. But it didn't take long before she started pushing. She wanted me to snap out of it. She planned dinner parties, dragged me to social events, invited friends over, like grief was something I could just brush off and ignore. And when I couldn't do it, when I told her I needed time, she got angry. She accused me of pushing her away. She said I was making everything about Mason, that I was ruining our life. 3 months. That's all the patience she had. 3 months after losing my brother, when I was still trying to figure out how to function, she decided she was done. And that's when she betrayed me. I found out through Liam, Mason's childhood best friend. He called me one night, his voice hesitant, like he didn't know if he should even say the words. He had seen Teresa. At a motel. With another man. I laughed at first. It had to be a mistake. There was no way. Not Teresa. Not the woman I had built my life with. Then Liam sent me the photo. And my world collapsed for the second time in a year. There she was. My wife. Locked in an embrace with a man I didn't even recognize, standing in front of a motel room. I stared at that picture for hours. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. It felt like someone had ripped my heart out and stomped on it, over and over again. That night, when Teresa came home, I was waiting. I showed her the photo. Asked her to explain. At first she denied it. Said it wasn't what it looked like. But when I kept pressing, she broke down and admitted everything. She had been having an affair with a coworker. For 2 months. 2 months. While I was drowning in grief, trying to hold myself together after losing Mason, she was sneaking off with someone else. And the worst part? She had the audacity to blame me. She said she felt lonely. That I had been too emotionally distant. That she had needs and deserved happiness. And then, the final dagger, she told me I had pushed her to cheat. Like it was my fault. I don't even remember my exact words after that. I just remember the cold, hollow feeling in my chest when I told her to get out. That I wanted a divorce. She begged. She cried. She swore it was a mistake, that she still loved me, that she had just been confused. I didn't care. I could never look at her the same way again. The next day the messages started. A flood of texts, calls, voicemails. Teresa trying to justify herself, telling me I was being unfair, saying I was exaggerating. She twisted it all, said that I had abandoned her first, that I had been so consumed with Mason that I forgot about our marriage. That it was my fault she went looking for comfort elsewhere. And for a brief, awful moment, I doubted myself. Maybe if I had been a better husband, maybe if I had managed my time better, maybe if I had just seen this coming. But then, I remembered something. A real partner, a real wife wouldn't have done this. A real wife would have stood by me. Would have held my hand through the worst moments of my life, not run off to sleep with someone else. And now she's trying to act like I'm the villain for refusing to take her back. But I know the truth. She betrayed me at my lowest. And there's no coming back from that. It's been almost a year since my last update, and life has finally settled into a new rhythm. Looking back, it's incredible to see how much has changed, and how much I've grown through it all. Olivia and I are still together and things are going really well. We recently moved in together and even adopted a dog, which has brought a lot of joy and laughter into our home. She has been incredibly supportive, never pressuring me to rush my healing, and always making space for my feelings when I need to talk. With her, I feel understood in a way I never did before. Therapy has helped me work through the lingering pain from Mason's loss and Teresa's betrayal. I've learned that healing doesn't mean forgetting or pretending things didn't hurt. It means finding a way to live with those experiences without letting them define you. I no longer blame myself for what happened. I did the best I could for Mason, and I know he would have been proud of me for standing my ground with Teresa. Speaking of Teresa, I've kept my distance. I hear from mutual friends that she still tries to paint herself as the victim, but honestly, it doesn't bother me anymore. The truth is she made her choices and I made mine. I don't wish her any harm, but I also don't waste energy thinking about her. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is the importance of surrounding yourself with people who truly care. The ones who stand by you in the hardest moments, who support you instead of making it about themselves, those are the people who matter. To anyone going through heartbreak, grief, or betrayal, I want to say, it does get better. It won't happen overnight, and some days will be harder than others, but you will get through it. Take it one step at a time, lean on the people who truly love you, and most importantly, never settle for someone who doesn't respect you. This chapter is finally closing, and for the first time in a long while, I feel hopeful about the future. Thank you to everyone who offered advice and encouragement. It meant more than you know. Here's to moving forward. Final update. Life isn't perfect, but for the first time in a long while, it feels stable. Olivia and I have built a strong foundation together. Like any couple, we've had our share of disagreements, but we always prioritize honest communication and mutual respect. It's refreshing to be with someone who values those things as much as I do. A few months ago, I ran into Teresa at a mutual friend's wedding. It was awkward, but we managed to be civil. She apologized again for how she handled our divorce and mentioned that she's in therapy, working on herself. I wished her well but made it clear that I had no interest in rekindling any kind of relationship, not even as friends. Seeing her stirred up mixed emotions. There was still some anger, but more than anything, I felt a deep sense of closure. That conversation made me realize just how much I've healed. Grieving Mason still comes in waves. Some days are harder than others, especially around his birthday or the anniversary of his passing. But I've found healthier ways to cope and honor his memory. I volunteer at the hospital where he was treated, and I've grown even closer to his wife and kids. His oldest son, who's now 14, has been struggling lately, acting out at school and dealing with anger issues. I've been spending more time with him, taking him to basketball games and just being there to listen. It feels good to support him the way Mason always supported me. Olivia and I have talked about our future. We're not rushing into marriage, but we both see this as a long-term relationship. We've even discussed the possibility of kids someday, something I never thought I'd consider again after everything with Teresa. It's scary to think about opening my heart that much, but with Olivia it feels safe. Work has been going well. I was promoted a few months ago, which has been both exciting and demanding. The new role requires more travel, which has been an adjustment for both Olivia and me, but we're figuring out how to balance our time together. I've also been reconnecting with old passions. I joined a local amateur baseball league, something I loved in college but let go of over the years. It's been great to rediscover parts of myself that I thought I'd lost. Looking back, the past few years have been some of the most challenging of my life. I've faced heartbreak, betrayal, and grief, but I've also found resilience, love, and hope. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that life keeps moving forward, no matter how impossible things might feel in the moment. To everyone who has followed my journey and offered support along the way, thank you. Your kindness helped me through some of my darkest days. I don't know exactly what the future holds, but for the first time in a long time, I'm excited to find out. If there's one thing this journey has taught me, it's that healing takes time, but it is possible. Betrayal, grief, and loss can break you, but they don't have to define you. Choosing yourself, setting boundaries, and allowing yourself to heal are some of the most powerful things you can do. Life will throw challenges your way, but you are stronger than you think. Growth comes from the hardest moments, and sometimes, the things that hurt the most lead you to the life you were always meant to have. Does this story resonate with you? Have you experienced something similar? Let's open up the conversation. Share your thoughts in the comments. And if this story touched you in any way, don't forget to like, share, and comment so we can keep these important discussions going.